Hello and salam and welcome. This is the first episode of our new series called Function Better, where we'll basically explore a wide range of health and fitness related topics, from joint mobility to fasting, injury recovery, much more. And we'll be breaking down a few stereotypes as well in the process. We'll also regularly recommend books and resources if you want to explore things further, and we hope to bring you other experts in their fields of health and fitness, as well as ordinary people who will come and share their journey to inspire us all. So your host for this series of discussions will be Hamza, Jonce George, and myself, Safiya Ascoli-Ball. So just to introduce you a little bit, Jonce is the founder of Movement Rehab, and he has extensive experience in physical training spanning several decades. And this is why I have to have my notes, because his CV is longer than my arm. So he's a certified functional range conditioning mobility specialist, a certified instructor in kin stretch, Pilates, kettlebell sport, and many, many other things, which we'll discuss and come to light in the process. At a later stage, we'll do a whole session anyway on your fascinating journey, Hamza. As for me, I am a latecomer to sports. I started Taekwondo when I was 41 after 4 children, and really I was not a sports person at all. Maybe a sort of occasional stint at the gym, maybe the swimming pool, something like that, but really not into any real sports seriously. So I've always had an attraction to martial arts, and when I saw Taekwondo, I really, really fell in love with it, and I joined the main class with my children and started doing it. But obviously, because of my age and lack of training and weak muscles, I sustained a lot of injuries along the way. Now I'm a black belt, thank God. But it was a tough journey. So basically, Jonce and I, we both had, didn't we, a lot of conversations about my different injuries, how I could improve, what I could do to prevent and repair. And I learned so much through you. And we both thought basically that it'd be nice to have more people benefiting from your knowledge. So this is really where we're at. I mean, interestingly, I then went to do a training in Pilates. So I'm now a Pilates instructor, because my knowledge and my experience was, I thought, would be beneficial to other women in the similar situation as me. And then I convinced you to become a Pilates instructor too, to add this to your range of services and knowledge. So yeah, if you want to just elaborate a little bit more on that, you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff went on there. So first of all, just want to say Assalamu alaikum and hello to everyone. And yeah, it's really, really exciting to be here to start this journey, really, and to waffle on and to talk, because basically once I get going and talk. So yeah, I mean, the Pilates thing, I mean, that you said is quite interesting, because as you know, I resisted doing that. I felt like I don't want to do Pilates. I mean, what, you know, and I get it, and I had you going on at me, and then I had a friend as well, Paul Boston, from Saturn Fitness and Wellness, as you know, and he has a studio and they do a lot of Pilates there, and they also encouraged me to go and do Pilates. And
that is that studio is in Oxford, isn't it?
Yes. That's a studio here in a place called Abingdon, which is just outside the city of Oxford, so part of Oxfordshire. Yeah, it's just 5 miles down the road, really 10 miles down the road. And I did the Pilates, and yeah, I enjoyed it. It was an experience. The only male figure there, with all ladies doing Pilates. But it was, yeah, I mean, I like it, and I do like the Pilates and what it got to offer, and yeah, so looking forward to doing a lot more with Pilates going forward, and integrating all the stuff that I have to bring into that. So
I remember telling you at the time that what I found about Pilates, it kind of brought together everything that you and I were talking a lot about, how to isolate a joint. It was not just about getting fit or strong or having big muscles or whatever it was, or strong abs. It wasn't really about that. It was really about how to function better, how to move better. And interestingly enough, recently, someone on one of the forums on Facebook asked, in 2 words or 3 words, how would you describe Pilates? And my first, a lot of people said lots of different things, but my first instinct was just to say strength and mobility, because really that is what it is about. And it really tied in with everything you had learned in lots of different training. I thought that was a practical application that people could connect as well.
Yeah. I mean, I have to admit, even up to now, I do struggle with the mobility part of it. I'm not saying that you don't get mobility from Pilates. Hear me out, right? Okay. It's like, I remember doing a little video one time, and we were talking about I think it's something to do with kin stretch. I did some little YouTube thing about kin stretch. And when people talk about mobility or flexibility, they generally tend to think about yoga. Okay, so most people think, yeah, I want to get flexible, I want to get mobility.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and do yoga. But if they think like, okay, I want more stability, right? Okay, generally they go Pilates. So I got a bad back and I want to get more stability, because Pilates, obviously, there's a lot with that stability thing. Right, okay, issues. So they think Pilates, but from the stability you will get mobility, okay? And even in yoga you will get mobility. You know, from mobility you also get stability, because, you know, especially when you start dealing with the banders and the lock holes and the breathing and stuff, and you they're together. You can't really separate it, okay? But obviously with my training with functional range conditioning, which is from the functional range systems, what should we call that? It's the functional range systems. It's a whole group which is set up by Dr. Andrea Spina, Dre as we call him within the community. It goes into mobility even much more than you with yoga and Pilates. And when I go on to my training with these things, I did it alongside Pilates people and yoga people. Okay, so it's a different things, but everything is together. But you do get mobility. You will get mobility from Pilates, and you'll get mobility from yoga. I believe with functional range conditioning and stuff, you'll get a lot more what we really call mobility. So we'll get into that anyway. We'll really get into defining mobility as much. But yes, I've got lost again.
This is the thing is I find as well, like in my training as a Pilates instructor, it's kind of the I would say the beginner's level of mobility. For strength, it's brilliant, definitely. But for mobility, I find myself adding things that you have taught me about controlled articular rotations, etc. So basically, I just want to do a little mention here for those watching. Whatever we mention, the techniques we mention, if Hamza or Jonce mentions any videos that he's done, or we will always put the links under our videos or explain or whatever. So don't worry if you've not caught exactly what we're talking about. You will have a way of researching this further if you're interested.
Another thing I'm just thinking about, actually, was talking about Pilates, because I am fascinated with Pilates. When you read the story with Joseph Pilates and how he went about, and you look at the people that he was training, a lot of them came, I would imagine, because there were a lot of them were dancers and that, they already came with mobility. Okay.
Yeah. They came with mobility. They also came with injuries. Yeah.
One of my trainings as well, because we talked about different things I did. We didn't mention the fact that I also did functional movement, which is the FMS screen, and the SFMA, which is selective functional movement assessment. And in functional movement, FMS, they talk a lot about mobility before stability. Okay. And if you go into DNS as well, another something else I've done as well.
DNS stands for
dynamic neuromuscular stabilization. Okay, with a lot of the top people from Czech Republic. they talk about the way babies, we develop as babies, where we start off with a lot of mobility and then we start gaining stability. So when you think about the Pilates with Joseph Pilates, from the point of when he was in America and he started teaching people, a lot of those people came in, they had, I'm imagining they had a lot of mobility, and now a bit more stability.
They were athletes, definitely. Yeah, they were mostly dancers.
Let's just say again, for someone who does Pilates, and this is not a knock and saying, oh, because obviously Joseph Pilates started off before he was in America with people, and he would have taught them stability and mobility as well. So it's just an interesting point to think about, I think, how the importance of having mobility as well. And sometimes people get good with stuff from having mobility already built in and then adding on to it.
Yeah, very true. So there was some interesting things that happened basically in the course of my interactions with my friends, and even in Pilates and whatever. I get some really interesting questions, and I find that people understand now that there is that movement is important. I think we've moved on a lot over the last few decades from, oh, you're injured, you need to lie down and rest and let your body repair somehow while not moving at all. I think we really moved on for that, which is really great. But there's still a lot of ignorance, not in a negative way, but like ignorance in exactly how the body works. And to be honest, I learned so much just with like some basic anatomy and physiology lessons, that the classes that I had to take for Pilates, and although a lot of my friends and my clients, they say, okay, I understand why Pilates is important, I understand, but the connections between the different parts of the body is really not known very well. So for instance, I just had a call just before this morning from a friend who just woke up with a completely locked neck. And I used to have that actually quite a lot from working at computers and stuff when I was working in an office. But and she tried, a bit of massage and maybe some salt bath or warm compresses or whatever. But she really realized that it was not enough. There was something else that she should be doing. And the first thing I said, which I might not have said before my training and before talking to you, was keep moving, but work within the pain. So can you just elaborate a little bit more on how, like taking that example, for instance, you wake up with a completely stiff neck, or you feel something and you just, you can't move. You can feel it's like going all the way down to your shoulders, and you can feel it's all kind of connected. But where do you start, basically?
So yes, we don't know what happened, how she slept. Maybe she slept in a position that made the position worse, the pain worse, and maybe she's got some underlying issues anyhow. But I mean, if you look at, for example, when an animal wakes up, okay, the first thing they do is what they call pendiculation. They get into a stretch, don't they? Like a cat, they get into a stretch. They move straight away, okay? And it's interesting that your friend said she's got a stiff neck and she's gone massage. She's done all these other things. But it's interesting that she never said, I did all these movements. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, she did try, actually. She did try to stretch a little bit. And she said, surprisingly, it felt good and not as painful as I thought. Obviously, it wasn't. And this is the thing I remember from my own experience of having a stiff neck. Is like you kind of torn between the idea of like, I don't want to move because if I move, it's going to be so painful. But at the same time, you feel like you've got to do something to. So I would, the thing, like I agree with you, what she needs to do is just get into doing some movements. Okay. So we have a thing in functional range conditioning called CARS, which stands for Controlled Articular Rotations. And we'll as we go on, we'll go into all of these things in detail.
We'll talk a lot more about that, okay? But just doing simple neck rotations and being mindful of never to go into pain. So wherever she has the pain, it's just trying to move other little places that she hasn't got pain. And I'm going to throw something out again, like Feldenkrais movement is very, very good movement.
Say that again. What's it called?
Feldenkrais
Right,
from
yeah.
What's his name? Is it Moshe Moshe Feldenkrais. Okay, so they do a lot of like different movements with the neck. And I remember even before I got into knowing about CARS, which is controlled reticular rotation, going around doing neck circles, keep it quite simple. If I ever had a stiff neck, for example, I would do little movements. So little things like looking up at the corner of the room here, moving your head here, just moving around, right? Okay. But trying to move your head in a really subtle, easy way, not to cause pain, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And trying not to get any little stiffness. And what you find is when you do a lot of that little simple movements, okay, and you just play with it, because play is the first thing, is a really important concept here, is play. Okay, it's really important to just play. Forget about training and all of this thing, getting too complicated. Just play with the movements. So just doing these little movements, you'll find that all of a sudden your neck starts freeing up.
Yeah, yeah. So when you have this sort of pain, so say I have this pain in the neck, which direction should I kind of go? Should I go towards the pain, or should I go away from the pain? How would that work? Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah. Okay. So the thing we need to remember you need to remember, and we need to remember when it comes to pain, okay, is that first of all, we need to understand what kind of pain do I have?
Right.
Okay? So when you move your neck, or when you move any joint, what we talk about, there is an opening angle where the joint opens up. So if I'm using this as an example here, as you can see, my joint is opening up here and it's closing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is open and this is closed.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine this is the knee joint. Okay, and it's opening and it's closing. If I'm moving my neck and the angle here is opening up and I feel a pain,
yeah,
we'll call that an opening angle pain.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, right? It's quite simple, isn't it? It's opening up, it's opening angle. If I move my neck this way and the joints are closing, right, we call that now a closing angle pain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, two types of pain. The closing angle pain is the one that we need to be aware of, and that is a red flag.
Right.
If it's an opening angle pain, we know that the tissues have been elongated as well. So the joints is open, the tissues have been elongated. So that's like the tissues are going on a stretch. Okay. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't worry about that too much. We can work about it. It's still pain. Okay. But the one is a red flag, is one where the joint angle is closing.
Right. Okay.
That's not good. Because as you know from being a Taekwondo and black belt, when you're doing your stretching, you feel a bit of pain.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't stop doing your stretching because you're feeling a pain.
No, when it's like a normal stretching pain, discomfort, I call it. Yeah.
The discomfort. Okay. But if you were doing, say, a forward bend, so you're stretching your hamstring, and now you're going to get a pain in your hip crease of the front.
I see. Yes.
That angle, that is now where your pelvis is closing onto the hip bone. Mm-hmm. Right? That is a closing angle pain. That one you need to be wary of.
Right. Okay. So can you explain a little bit more why? Then that's a bit more.
Because it's joint is bone and bone, or it could be, we don't know what's going on in within the joint there, but we know that something's been impacted.
Right. Okay.
Whereas on the other side, it's just tissues that's been on stretch.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
So before we can get into the neck pain and where you're moving and stuff, like I said, the number one rule is you never move into pain.
Yeah.
But having said that, if it's a stretching pain, you can move a bit more. Obviously, don't overdo it. Okay.
Yeah.
Closing angle, definitely never move into a closing angle pain.
Right. Okay.
So to answer that question, I would really need to know what type of pain you're having.
Yeah.
Always err on the side of caution. Never move into pain. If closing angle joint pain, so I'm moving my neck this way and I'm feeling the pain here. That closing angle, I would not move into that pain. I would move around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I'm moving my neck away from there and it's painful, again, that's something I can just play with. That I can just play.
It's true, actually.
Loosen up.
Yeah. I've noticed like
fighting there.
Yeah, sometimes when you have, like, say, just to keep that idea of the neck pain, we don't we, when it's tense or when we have like some tingling feeling here, we just kind of, let's just do a good stretch. And it actually feels good.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually feels good to stretch, although it's like it pulls and maybe there's like a sharpish pain. You're like, actually, that stretching really does help.
Natural as well, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, naturally, I can imagine that. And then if you do this way and it's painful when you move that way, you're like, no, you can't.
No, you don't
move there. That is really not nice.
And then another thing you do as well is, I like to get my fingers and I like to get it into which is my trapezius muscle here, the muscles here. I might move into here. I might even move it into my neck.
Yeah. So that's kind of a bit more deeper
massaging,
tissue.
That's self-massaging. I'm self-massaging myself into that pain. But like you said, I like how you said it. When you get that, no, you don't move into that. So bottom line is, like you said to your friend, it's the best advice you can give her. She's tried all these different things. Try moving around as well, and just move any which way. Don't move into pain, and hopefully, inshallah, it will loosen up.
Yeah. So to continue a little bit, I know we'll do like a more technical video on cars, the controlled articular rotations, but can you tell us a little bit more about sort of what your routine is? Because ultimately, we would like to not wake up with a stiff neck or a stiff hip, whatever, because of the bad way we stepped, but also obviously, as we know, and you'll explain that, I'm sure, much better than me, that when we wake up with a stiff neck and a stiff hip, it's not just because we slept in the wrong position. It's because there are many more underlying issues that cause that stiffness. Otherwise, we should be able to just get up from bed, move about a bit, and that's it. We're off without any pain. Yeah. So what would be your kind of basic recommendation? What is your routine in the morning to help?
Me personally, every morning I do something called the morning cars. Okay. So
again, we'll put the video in the comment section of your morning cars routine.
You can find videos on my YouTube channels. But I do something called the morning cars, which, like you said, we'll go into another time. But what the morning cars basically is just moving every single one of my joints through their greatest rotational ranges of motion.
Right.
So moving my joints starting from top to bottom. So I do my neck, I do my spine, I do my shoulder blades, elbow, knees, hip, all the different, and I'll just move them into circles.
I believe you also do your toes.
But toe cars as well. We do toe cars as well. So and that would be interesting when we come to do that. It'll be interesting. So my morning routine basically will start off with breathing. Okay. Because I'm in a process at the moment where I've regressed my training, so I've gone back to basics. So I always start off with breathing, which fits in with the Pilates as well. Yeah. Okay. So
very big.
Breathing. And then I move into cars. Okay. And the cars routine, you can knock that out in 5 minutes. Once you learn it, you can knock out in 5 minutes.
True.
Depending on how much time you've got. If you've only got 2 minutes, you can do it in 2 minutes, like one rotation each joint. But I do that every day. That's one simple thing I do every day. So if you're having issues, the thing to remember is that there's not just, don't think like I'm going to do one thing, like I'm going to do cars today, and then that's it. I'll be all right for the rest of the time. You have to be doing stuff all the time.
All deeds done consistently.
All the time.
All acts, yeah.
Morning cars. So once you learn the morning cars, you need to do it every single day. Okay, like a cat, like an animal wakes like a cat or a dog, and they do the pendiculation where they get up and they do that stretch. They do that every single time.
True.
Yeah, they never get up and just start running off after food. They get up and do that. They do that, don't they?
True. It's true. Yeah.
And we
having
do
two
that.
cats, I can.
We get up and go. We do that as well, don't we?
Yeah, but not often enough.
No.
I find, that we just basically often just jump off and as you said, one
Yeah.
a long time ago, you said just expect the body to
Yeah.
function at its optimal level.
Yeah.
And it's just not possible, is it?
Do you know what we do? We're very good at, a lot of us, right? Okay, we get up, we get the phone, and we get into it, don't we? And we get into that.
Yeah.
That's what we're very good at nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's why you need to do the cars for the fingers.
You do your wrist cars,
Yeah.
stuff like that. You need to do your neck because you're getting into that position as well. So
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So yeah, cars, morning cars routine.
And it ties in with what was said earlier about very briefly mentioned the fact that everything's connected. Mm-hmm. So you might have, again, to go back to always that idea of the stiff neck, you may have a stiff neck, but it's because maybe your hip is stiff. Yeah, there's a problem with your hip, an imbalance in your hip, or a problem with your foot, with your ankle, and that connects all the way to the top. Yeah. So yeah, it's if you do that warm up sort of every day, you do tend to really target all of the different parts and connections of your body.
Yeah, yeah. Every joint, just think of it as just oiling your joint, just giving a little massage, and then when whatever you want to do, whatever movements you want to do, your body calls upon, then your joints are a bit more freer to do that. Yeah. So you can't go wrong with cars. You just cannot go wrong with cars. Everyone needs to do cars.
Obviously, what I find sometimes a little bit intimidating, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers will feel that as well, is that when you look at a lot of the videos that are online, you see this really super skinny, really fit, really muscly guys, or skinny, fit girls. I mean, toned. And you're like, oh, wow, I'm just not like this. How am I going? Oh, with great mobility. I mean, they get the leg and their hips at crazy angles, normal angles for the body, but not normal for probably 90% or 80% of the population. Mm-hmm. So it's sometimes quite intimidating. What I find good with your videos personally is that you're not trying to do anything that people cannot connect with their own body. Mm-hmm. And this is what people have to remember. Maybe watching some videos of people who can do some amazing things doesn't mean you can't try and do a bit of that, but it doesn't, not because it doesn't look like what they're doing, that you're not doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, we get caught up in Instagram and YouTube and what have you, and you should really just focus on yourself, and just do. I mean, to be honest, the reason why I do cars and why I wanted to do functional range conditioning and I learn all this other stuff that I've learned and still learn, by the way. It's like now I'm going, which I'm not going to tell you about, but I'm actually going for an online program right this very moment, that I'm actually going through an online program.
I am sure you'll tell us all about it in the near future.
If I told you the name of it, you asked me to explain it. I can't really explain it.
Let's forget about it for the moment.
But the reason I do these things, because first and foremost, because I know that I don't have great flexibility, mobility, whatever. And I tell myself this, but then sometimes when I'm showing people things, I'm thinking, actually, I'm not that bad, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? But there is people that I know of that has much better than what I have. Yeah. But it doesn't really matter. It's about really just doing your own thing and just working within your own capabilities and just consistently doing that daily. Okay, if possible, because I believe in doing things daily, and you will get better. It's all about yourself, and try not to get caught up in what anybody else can do. I mean, I might show you a routine, okay, or in the morning cars, you'll find that there is some things that you're really good at and some things that you're not so good at, and then the other person, they'll find they're good at some part, something, and not others. And the beauty about that as well, with cars, like with anything, is it's an assessment. Okay, so you get to find out about yourself as well.
It's very true. This is one thing that I find interesting as well when teaching Pilates, and I always tell them about that, is that when you do certain exercises, or even just sitting cross-legged and trying to put your knees to the side, you can see your imbalance straight away. You can see there's one knee that's more raised than the other. And it might not be something you can do anything about right now, but by knowing it, you know it will definitely impact how you walk, how you get off, on and off your car, on and off your chair, how you basically move about, and how it will impact then your upper body, your lower body. And knowing this, then you know if you have a problem, it might be having to do with that imbalance in your hip, or you can also then slowly focus a little bit more on that side, and try and get that a better mobility on that particular side. So awareness, I think, is the most important thing, because then you can really take things.
It's really good. Yeah, listen to your body. It's like right now, as we're doing this, we're having this conversation, I'm sat on the floor, which is where I like to spend a lot of my time. And I've just been moving my legs around. You know, you can see my body moving, but my legs are moving around, and that's the beauty. We have this thing inbuilt in us that when we get uncomfortable in one little position, then we move around, okay? Which might not happen so much when you're sat in a chair. You get so, you know, you just sit and just stay in that position. But when you're on the floor, constantly you would move around, okay?
Yeah, and in a chair, to be honest.
That is great in mobility within your body as well. The fact that you're moving around, you find, oh, I'm not so, you know, not so comfortable in this position, I'm moving around. It might be my ankle is just changing the angle of my ankles.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you one thing, you can see it. It's like a live assessment we're doing right now and comparison. So Hamza, Jonce has been sitting on the floor. You've been sitting on the floor, so you've been telling us about. So you can see I'm sitting on the chair, aren't I? And I've been just crossing my leg. My spine's twisted like this. My core is completely relaxed. Why? Because I'm resting against the back of the chair, and I'm a kind of, my hip is a little bit at an angle like this because I'm not sitting upright. And so I am basically the example of really what should not happen, what you should not do. And Jonce, obviously, you're showing us what you should be doing.
Wow.
That's it. So now I've removed my back from the chair. And I've pushed my hip forward. So what do? I have to engage my core, my deep postural muscles. I can't just rest on my lower back and relax everything. I have to. And what do I do in that process? My spine straight, my shoulders relaxed, sit back, you know, and it's a completely different situation. And what does happen? I breathe better. So there's better oxygen to the body. So there we go. Just a live.
You know what? I was just thinking. There's a lady came to see me one time.
I'm feeling very self-conscious now.
A lady came to see me one time in the clinic, and without going into details, what she had, whatever issues she had. So I ran through the cars routing with her, like I did with lots of people, and she said, "Oh, what do you want me to do now?" I said, "Well, go home and start learning the cars and sit on the floor, spend time on the floor." She says, "What do you mean? Just sit on the floor?" I says, "Yeah." "What? But in which way?" I says, "Whichever way you want." She says, "But what?" And she was like that. It's literally like this, right? I says, "Well," I said to her, "Go on the floor now. You know, sit on the floor." And she's going down, and I says, "Oh," and I said, "Yeah, just keep doing that."
Yeah, because you can't
just sit and watch your TV. You like watching TV? Watch TV. Yeah. Spend some time on the floor, right? Okay. If you spend 2 minutes and you're not, and then you get uncomfortable, get back onto the chair, and then keep going back, and just keep little bits of time. Whenever you can, just spend a little bit of time on the floor, and just increase it, and you will see the difference. Do you know?
I think this is
next time I saw her, she said, "Yeah, it's starting to make a difference." And it's a simple thing. You don't need to pay me money for me to tell you to sit on the floor.
But unfortunately, yes, because, and I think this is another subject that I really would like us to do a lot more in depth in the future, which is all those bad habits, which are really not down to our fault. It's really because the way we are now, our environment is sitting on chairs, sitting on sofas, sitting in cars. We hear that a lot, but I've noticed really is just this inability to sit, for most people to be able to sit on the floor. And not to kind of praise necessarily the Muslims or over others, but because I'm sure there's other societies and communities who do other things that are really good. But that's my personal experience, is when I became a Muslim when I was 27, couldn't kneel. I could not kneel on the floor more than a few seconds. I was so uncomfortable. I had to move around. It was just horrible. But the more I did kneel on the floor and did my prayers, if people are familiar with it, you know, we kneel a lot in the period of the prayer, and then afterwards, if we want to do like extra invocations and stuff. And the more I was doing it, the more my joints, my tendons, my ligaments just became looser. And then now I'm able to kneel for a long time. And I see my family who's in France and just obviously not Muslims, they really struggle to just sit. I'm talking teenagers. I'm not talking obviously the people who like obviously don't forget about it. Just cannot sit on. They don't know what to do with the legs. So that's something I'd like to elaborate. That in the future we'll elaborate more on.
Just to because again, you know, you mentioned about the Muslims, but then I started thinking about the Japanese.
No, exactly. Yes.
Okay, because they grew up in that environment. Now I remember when I was
squatting. Sorry, before we forget, squatting in Asian communities and East Asian communities. Very prevalent.
Well, I remember when I was a teenager, which is not that long ago, right?
We will say.
But I remember a friend of mine took me to my first Aikido lesson. Okay. And it's in the Oxford University. Okay, it's actually in the area where the dojo is. It's on the site of where Dr. Roger Bannister ran his sub 4 minute mile. Okay, so
very nice.
Where we did the Aikido. And in Aikido, I don't know if you know about Aikido, but it's all on the floor in terms of like you do all this kneeling, and it was really hard. As a teenager, going, and this is before I became Muslim as well. Okay, and I was into my training. I did football. Them days I would be doing football and any other sport I was doing. You know, like school. You know, still at school. Cricket, basketball, football's my main thing. And going to do Aikido and having to go on the floor, it wasn't easy. It was hard.
Because those sports were all standing up one day. They were not, and with very required strong quads and strong calves. Therefore, everything's tighter everywhere.
So that took a bit of getting used to, and going from sitting up into it's.
They do very deep lunges as well.
I could get you down sitting, but we can talk a lot about sitting.
I think this is definitely something that we will have to look at. So I think we really had a very nice kind of introductory video, all the different things, and I hope that people watching will be like so as fascinated and excited that you know I am to go into all these discussions, because ultimately your aim is to really help people move better. It's not about being an athlete. It's not about breaking records. It's not about coming from no sports to being competing at the international level. It really is about how do you, as I said, go up and down the stairs, carry your laundry basket, carry your toolbox, carry your go into your car, whatever it is, and wake up in the morning without like a lot of pain. So it really is practical for the average person.
I mean, just to say, it's quite nice, and this has been quite exciting talking about this, and apologies to anyone. It starts going off, and I start going off in different tangents and different angles.
But that's what I find personally. This is what's fascinating.
And hopefully we can hone in on that and put some blinkers on, and we can go in through there. And based on what you're just saying, I just want to show you one thing before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Human first, athlete second.
Definitely. And I read that a lot more now. It's a lot more. Even footballers now, they do Pilates and I'm sure they do other things as well, but from my my sources, you hear about Pilates, they go into doing Pilates because they just can't move otherwise properly. It helps because the way their body is just built up, and lots of other athletes go into other type branch. There's basically their training is not just about how to be good at their sport and all of that training for their sport. It's they include much more this idea we're human, our body functions in a particular, moves in a particular way, and we need to make sure we just cover it all.
I remember Brad Friedel. He's an American goalkeeper, and he Tottenham Hotspur, which is my team, the best team in the country.
Well, we want to have a video about that, but guys, I'm French, so obviously that's another story. But Manchester United have
Well, anyway, Tottenham. We're not going to go into that because we've just had a results over there.
And I'm wearing red, aren't I?
He came to Tottenham and going back a few years back, and he's a goalkeeper, but he was a big yoga guy. And he got all the guys doing yoga, and it was like something new to them. Do you know what I mean? And he was still playing. I think when we probably bought him, he was like 38 or something. He was still going at 38, 39, 40 as a goalkeeper. I mean, goalkeepers generally, they play a lot longer in their professional careers. And we know, like football, it's quite demanding. But the goalkeepers get longer. But one of his things that he said that enabled him to be able to play at such a high level for such a long time was the fact that he did yoga.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Guys, the Tottenham players, how to do yoga. Interesting.
Yeah, really good.
So get off of one again.
We can, and I'm really personally looking forward to the next installment. Which is going to come very, very soon. Please, everybody, subscribe to the channel so you can get the notifications when the next video will be on. You're welcome to leave comments. You can contact us. We'll leave all the details on how to contact Jonce Hamza in different ways, his videos. And if you have any subject that you're particularly interested in that we don't look like we have mentioned, definitely let us know. We'll see what we can do about that. But really, this is your channel, so use it. And I hope to see you all. So see you next time.
And don't forget to plug in, look up Safiya as well. Give her a shout.
As we said, we will talk another time. But I'm with the Taekwondo, the Pilates. I've got an Instagram, new Instagram page, which is not very. I'm trying to put a little bit on, but I've just discovered slow jogging.
Right.
Yes, it is a thing. It is, and I'm really excited about it. But that will be for another time. So basically, we just wish you peace and health to everybody. And we'll see you again very soon.
Inshallah. Take care, everyone. Keep moving.
Keep moving. Bye.
Bye.